I will present my presentation on basics for like data analysis. Basically, it's for machine learning, how we apply Python in machine learning that I'm going to introduce you all. Basically, in this presentation, I will keep it simple. So I will use support vector machine, which is very popular classifier algorithm for machine learning today. So we will basically start with some uh, introduction, like whoever uh, like okay, so why use Python? Python is basically used because it's a general purpose programming language, and it's open source language, as we all know that we can like install it for free in internet, and it's an interpreted high level programming language. We need to like basically don't have to bother like with like comma, like different kind of punctuation, like what we need to use in different kind of languages. Many packages for data science and machine learning can be used by Python. So a broad range of library is a big advantage. So as we know, like we can install Python and Python related software from there. So you can search for their like Python.org. I definitely suggest to go to like who is doing code. They have to first start, try to like start like typing, like own self searching. So that's a good habit for a programmer to program. So definitely we should try to go for the original source like Python.org for installing that software. And there is Anaconda you can install. So there are some things like Python identifier and identifiers, keywords. We need to look at carefully, because if we do like we will do any problem like in like uh, mm, capital letter or small letter, so there will be a big trouble. When you will try like when you'll try own self Python in a code in code, you will notice that each time it will give some error if you do mistakes like in identifiers, keywords, which name they are defined in actual. We have to use that particular case and particular name, otherwise it will generate error. So machine learning. Learning, we know actually everywhere is machine learning is now. The Facebook, the Netflix, wherever we go, what we are watching or whatever we are doing, like we can see that what we are interested at, it automatically generates some suggestions. So that is basically machine learning. So that's the field basically like which where the computers that gives computers the capability to learn without being explicitly programmed. So in traditional programming, we do like we input our data, and then we get an output based on that. So in machine learning, we input the data as well as coding, and the data is automatically programmed like for that output. So I am continuing further so you understand better. So machine learning is basically processed in 7 steps. First, complicated process is to data collection, then data preparation, then choosing a model, training, evaluation, parameter tuning, and prediction. Basically, as per my knowledge, that data collection and data preparation in this case takes the long time, because there are many problems with our data. Sometimes the data is very less, so we can't process the model or something perfectly. And data preparation is required because there are sometimes missing data, like there is input, but there is no output value. So in their cases, like image, like the images are not in proper resolution or size. So data preparation takes a lot of time in this case, actually. Then we need to choose the perfect model. According to that, then it's need to trained and be evaluated. So here you go. Based on the nature of learning, like what we input and what we get, there are like different kind of machine learning, like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, semi-supervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So supervised learning is actually, you can see in the figure here, the supervised learning, you give the like input and output, both. Like then in the training model, we will give both the known input and known output. So based on that, when the model will create something, like when we will give input, there will be not given any known output, but it will, the model can predict the output. I think I have tried to like explain clearly this. So though you have not put the output, the model will automatically know that what the output is for that model. So that is supervised learning, where the both input and output is basically given in the model. So in unsupervised learning, that you can see that's opposite. The data are not labeled here. So there is all data are unknown data. So basically based on that unknown data, it will give us some output based on their structure. So, and semi-supervised, as you know from the name, that is basically like some data's input and output will be provided. Based on that, the other datas will learn the model, that what is gonna be the output. And reinforcement learning is based on like typically it's for different environment. It is given like some reward and punishment based on the action, what is gonna be. So that is also like unknown output without any known output. So we are basically, and they are based on output, desired output from a machine learned system. There can be also different kind of algorithm, classification algorithm, regression algorithm, clustering algorithm. So basically we can see here like classification will basically like categorize our data. Like we will input some data that we will assign that data from that class. Like some data, some picture is given like for female, like we will assign it as female, and some pictures are defined like it's male picture. So that will be assigned like it is the male data. So categorize all the datas, categories all the datas. Like basically that is the classification. The classification can be like 2 or more than 2, like whatever required. So basically it will categorize our data. Regression also kind of same, but regression will generally output continuous data instead of that categorical data. Like it can be regression can be, one example can be like any car data, or like car mileage, or depend on that the price. So the model will predict like there is some car features are given, like, and based on that the price will be output. So that is also given. So in that case, when like we put any mileage or any features, based on that they will automatically generate a price. So that is a continuous value. So that will be formed, like that is regression. And clustering is also based on like a group of like observing the groups of structure clustering is generally like generated. Okay, we will not take much time in this because we have small time here. So I'm going to like, today I am going to like give example of iris dataset we will use here, and we will discuss like one classifier algorithm, that is, as I mentioned, support vector machine classifier algorithm. So in this data set, you can see like there are few features in this flower. There is petal length, petal width, and sepal length, sepal width. So there will be some datas. So basically we can import that data set from scikit-learn. So scikit-learn is a library of Python. I will discuss it later. So, okay, as I said, like when we like iris flower dataset plotting, I will keep it simple. In this picture, you are seeing the iris flower, which has 4 features. And based on that features, you can determine the species of the flower. Like here, you can see the coordinates, 2 coordinates, petal width and petal length I have used. So the blue color defines the versicolor, and green, as you can see, the setosa. So when we plot that like in X and Y for that flowers, that generates. So what support vector machine actually does, how it classifies, that's the question here. So, okay, so all right, we can see here that there are different kind of like boundary we can put, and 3 boundaries are actually accurate. Like anyone, then any one of them is appropriate, can be appropriate. So what will actually maximize the accuracy? You can see, okay, from this picture, you can see that the distance here from this like black boundary, you can see the distance is kind of maximized from the all datas. But if you see that brown boundary, you will see that all data's distance are not maximized. Actually, support vector machine does this. Actually, it like maximize our accuracy, that how the hyperplane should be drawn. So our model will be most accurate. So that is the main purpose. I think, okay. So we have, so this is the margin, okay. Okay, so in 2D dimension, we can see that the boundary is, we can see, and 3D boundary, that will be a plane will be there 3D. But when it will be like n dimensions, when it will be for n dimensions or n features, how we will draw it? It's still unavailable, like to draw like n dimensions in like n and put like n dimensional features. We only now can draw like 2D and 3D. So there will be, in machine learning, basically there can be a lot of data, like lot of features. Based on that features, you have to come to a conclusion or output. So it is not possible to draw like visually, but it's still possible like mathematically or calculatively. Still it's possible to like come to a calculation for n dimensional features. So that we are going to do. So there are many hyperparameters, like you have to like have, you need to have knowledge about before we will go to like support vector machine. uh, there you can see like the curve is like drawn in a manner that it will always be near to the like nearest data point, and it's actually kind of overfitting and it's going by the middle section. But in the right side picture, if you notice that the drawn boundary is kind of straight and smooth. But the problem is here, like it misclassifies some data points. By data points I mean that iris, like what I showed, that iris has different features like petal length, petal width. So here, like the blue, some blue data points is going in like left side in green. So both have some actually some benefits according to the desired output we want actually. So when the curve will be like zigzag and like that, like potentially like looking for like the nearest neighbor data points and all that, it will be high, gamma will be high. And when this will be smooth, so the boundary level, that will be low gamma. So regularization by means that also you can see that there is a zigzag, wiggy, unsmooth boundary is drawn here. So that will also look for like nearest data points and go like between that. And in low regularization, there will be like straight line. So it can misclassify some data, but computationally it may be beneficial. So in machine learning, these are the hyper tuning parameters of like support vector machine. Actually, each machine learning classifier algorithm, there are some like hyper tuning parameters. So it can actually, it's basically to get the most accuracy in our target output, because we have to draw a line, basically draw a line which will like accurately give the output for the input. So that is our actually target here. We have to draw it perfectly, and that's what the hyper tuning are used for here. So iris dataset, we saw that it's like in 2 dimensions. So if the data becomes like seems something like that, it's very difficult to like separate it like linearly. So in that category, we need to transform the data, or like we have to produce some other dimensional data so we can like visualize the things properly. Like this data, it can't be separated linearly. So if we convert, like transform the features, basically x and y, like here I show like petal length and petal width. Petal length is y, petal width is x. So here basically, if like the datas are like in circular shape or something, so we can see that we have to transform that data. So if we add like we transform the data in like g equal x square plus y square, we can't see here like the y dimension. Y dimension is basically here. If you try to visualize it, y is also perpendicular to our monitor, so we can see it. But the data are separated easily when we just transform the features of our data. I think I try to explain it easily. Like when we can't separate any data, we have to basically transform the feature in a best possible way, so the data are separated, and we can acknowledge that that these are the unique features of that features. So basically we like separated that data when we transform that data. So we can basically get a like boundary, like circular boundary like this. So that transformation is called like kernel hypertuning. So we will now go to our so basically there is we will do the coding of with support vector machine. So we can import our data through pandas here, so that as we know, if we have gone through the basic coding tutorials, that we can import the numeric data through pandas. So we import the pandas. Then the iris dataset I have imported from scikit-learn library as load iris. Actually, in scikit-learn, we can find many databases like which are given already stored there by someone, like collecting a lot of data, because all that data are like take huge place. Like there are like iris data, disease data, and many kind of data actually. So we should go through that, like visit that websites like scikit-learn, then Kaggle, ImageNet. There you will find a lot of like databases from where you can load the datas. So I have load that data set from scikit-learn. Then we go through this directory to see the like headers, like what is actually there. So that is showing the iris dataset directory. So there is feature names, feature names. To enter into that, we will go to iris.feature names. So here we can see the like what are the features of iris flower that we are basically seeing here. So we will put it in a data frame so we can like visualize it like correctly. So that's why we put it in a data frame, and it is denoted like this pd.data frame, as we should know it before. So we will put it in a data frame, that is iris dataset, and in column like it will be iris feature names. So iris data, so we can visualize. Okay, so we can see the data set like rows and columns, like when we converted it in a data frame. And when we will try to append a column with that, you can see there is sepal length, sepal width, petal width, petal length. So that are the features. So here target also. So we want that include with that. So for that, we need to like with df target, we will append to that data frame what we actually established just before. So there you can see that target, one column target is attached to it. So here basically we can see everything like iris, like what is in actually these headers. We can see through like iris dot target name or iris dot target, iris dot feature names. So we can see basically that what is actually in that column. This is the this way we can see. So iris dot target names, we can see that there is 3 types of like flower: setosa, versicolor, and virginica. So that, okay, so that is basically showing that which target, the target for data frame target which are 0, that will be shown like in this way. So we can, the same way, if we like place like 1, it will show like for which for which the target column will be 1, that data frame will be this. And for the data frame target which will be 2, that will be something like that. So we can see that from 0 to 50 there is like 0, and from 0 to 49, and then 50 to like 99, that will be 1, target 1. And the target when it's target 2, that will be like from 100 to 149. So what we are doing there, like we will create a data frame column name which will be flower name. Flower name, flower name that will be when applied to target. Like apply functions work is to create one column from another column. Lambda is a function used to basically to transform the data. So iris dot target names, when it will be applied to target, like target names will be assigned to like, okay, that target name is that and target is that. So for that target name, it will be the target. Like so kind of like that, that setosa is assigned to 0, or like then another flower like it can be like versicolor will be 1 or something. So target, basically target applying, we are assigning the value to the target names. Like this flower will be this number, this flower will be this number. So we are basically assigning one class, like assigning a number, numeric value to one, like to one flower. So every different flowers, like for 3 flowers, we'll assign like 3 numbers. Like when this will be the flower, it will be 0, or when this will be the flower, it will be 1. So this is basically that apply function is used to do convert that to like connect it, like to assigning that numeric value, because it can only understand the numeric value. So we can see like flower name here. So if we use another name, it will be like, it will be another name. Like what name we will assign, that will be like here in the column. So we can see that, okay. As I run, actually, you know, run like repeatedly here. So another extra column was added, like in name of flower, like flower name and flower. Like, so that is basically to connect, like convert one column to another column. So that's how, like, we created the another column assigning the numeric value. Then we will see the visualize it with, like, to visualize. To visualize it, we will import matplotlib, matplotlib library here. So there is, you can see that I am creating a different data frame set for, like, for three kind of flowers, like, which are assigned value of 0, 1, and 2. So creating different data frame, which is DF 0, 1, and 2. Then basically you can see that how we can plot these features in a scatter plot. Here you can see, like, we first assign the labels of the features. Like, there I have used, like, sepal width and length. So we have assigned the X label, Y label. Then the plot is scattered. Plot scattered is for, like, sepal length and sepal width for, like, for data frame 0 and then data frame 1. Like, for first of all, for all the features, as I mentioned, that all inputs are given, all outputs are given. So when, like, flower is 0, we will get the flower 0, or like setosa, all features are given. So first we will input that all the features for that setosa, or what is assigned 0. So that we kept in, like, data frame 0. And again, in the second data frame, like df1, we will plot we'll scatter plot for another set of flower. So we can by this we can get, like, the scatter plot. So we can definitely see that the difference between that two kind of flowers, and based on their sepal length and sepal width, we can see. And we can clearly give a boundary between that, because they are totally different. So just before, we can plot, like, in X label and Y label, petal length and petal width also. So, and scatter the plot. You can see the difference of the datas clearly in the scatter plot, I guess. So for this, then in machine learning, like, I am utilizing support vector machine. So that classifier will do what? Like, there is, like, input and output data, like, for this flower, this value, kind of that. So that can be easily visualized from that data set. So we will now train the model, like, how that any like other features are given. Based on that, the model can decide, like, okay, this is setosa or this is versicolor. So that is the function of, like, using the classifier algorithms. So from scikit-learn model selection, we have to first split the training testing data. Training data is basically, like, whose input and output both we will know, like, according to these features, output will be this. And for test data set, we will know the input, but we will not know the output, basically, at first. The model will predict, like based on the unknown, based on the input, what can be the output. Model will predict that, predict that, and then it will be matched with the the test data set, that it matches or not. Am I clear about that? Like, you understand what I explained? Like, these data are known, like in supervised learning, like supervised, as discussing like supervised machine learning. So input will be known, output will be known for training model, and we will apply to train the model. Like for this kind of input, we will have this kind of output. Test data set, there will be a separate test data set that we will have like input, input, and we will know output, but the model will not know the output of output for that. So the model will take the input of the test set, and it will predict some data. It will predict that, okay, yeah, based on these features, it can be like Setosa or sunflower. Then I will see like the output matched, it matches with the predicted value or not. If it matches properly, our model is accurate or doing good. If it does not matches like what is real actually, then the accuracy level is low. Basically, machine learning is doing like, is the main thing that we need to like predict things automatically, that we need to serve. We have to give like data, so it have to automatically predict, like for this input, this is gonna be output. If the accuracy is not good, then the model is not useful anymore, like that model is not required. So in that case, like okay, I have just shown that like plots, like how it differentiates or something. So how we can drop any like column. So there is df dot drop is used to like drop any column. Like we have dropped column target and flower name and makes X. We have created a data frame X uh, only with that 4 features. We are not taking target and flower name in this. We will use the only features. The features can be even hundreds of features there can be for any data sets. Like for a car, like it can be mileage, like engine model and all that. Many features can be there. So in X side, we will take only the feature. So we have dropped the target column and flower name column. We have only take the features of the flower. And in Y, we have taken the target column only. Like where is assigned that it is 0, target, or 1 or 2, like which kind of flower it is. As I mentioned that in X, we have to always put all the features, like necessary features. There can be, that's the thing, like we need a lot of time in pre-processing the data, because every features are not useful. Like there are many features, like if we add that to the model, it will give the reverse like result. It will be not useful. So we have to understand like which features are good, which features are bad, and there is any missing value or not, then that needs to be imputed. So there are many kind of pre-processing. So but for keeping it simple, we will take the features in X side, and for Y data frame, we will take only the target value. So then we will split the training testing data. Training testing data splitting, we are just importing the library. and through Python, and dividing it in like test size 0.2. So it means basically like from 150 of datas, we will split, take the test size of 0.2, 0.2 like 20% of the data, actually basically that is that it means like test size of 20. So we have like seen here some like length or something like, oh, how much data we are using in X training, X testing. So then basically we will go to the support vector machine. So from scikit-learn, we can import that support vector machine and many kind of classifiers actually. You should all actually search for that different kind of classifiers used, like perceptron, decision tree, random forest. There are basically different kind of algorithms are already made, like which can be good for different kind of models based on the solution we need. Like if we if the data is like can be separated linearly, or how the data can be data features can be like data features can be extracted, or like data features can be separated radially or linearly, like depending on the output result we want, we have to apply different kind of classifier. So for that we need to actually lot of research actually, like applying all that data, like which algorithm will work actually better for that. We have to apply on that specific model and see all the things. So from scikit-learn, we imported a support vector machine, and as I have shown before in theory, that like there are different kind of parameters, like um, like gamma, then kernel, then regularization. So that are the parameters. So basically when we input the SVC or support vector machine, that is default. So we can hyper tune that parameters, like what gamma we will use or what kernel we will use. I'm showing you, like then model.sv is fit. Through this, we will train our model, like X training model and Y training model. We will we will train our data. Then we'll use like model.sbc score. So score method is basically do what I have said you before, like when X test is given, it predicts some data like Y prediction, and it matches like with our data. Like Y test data we know, but model does not know. Model does not know. So it will match, like it matches or not. Based on that, the accuracy will appear here. So that is the basically the task of like score method. So here we need to like do like work with many things, like how to like hyper tune different kinds of parameters. Like if we use like here at 100 instead of 1.
So real quick, we do have about 15 minutes left. So just if anyone has any questions or anything, make sure to speak up now.
You can ask any question if you can.
And Shoma, if you want to give me like any of the files or anything you use, I can put them on tracks so that everyone has access to this after the workshop is over, if you guys would want that.
Okay. So. Okay, so you can see like you have to like play with that like regularization, then gamma value, kernel type, like how the features can be extracted or something transformed. So we'll get a better curve or better boundary, better accuracy level. So we have to understand, like analysis that also, like these parameters. These parameters, like using 100, basically the accuracy level, you can see that it has lessened. But when I was using 1, um, so basically the thing is, okay, right now, like another value is coming, maybe from like, because I have not run the whole code. So basically playing with that parameters, like different level of accuracy we will receive. So how actually we need to understand, like to do better apply machine learning, like code in machine learning, we have to understand like the transformations, like probability and that kind of stuff's also related, like features, one features is that value, or how we can transform that value. So there the x and y value will be connected, like in a relationship, like it's in a linear relationship, or it's in an inverse relationship. So we have to understand like the how it needs to need to like transform or something. So based on that we can actually hyper tune that model, because codes for these are generally all available, or like in the website, or like if you search Google you will find different kind of codes. But you have to play with that, like how we can go for like this parameter, or how we need to optimize our accuracy, and how actually for simple things we need to actually put it in our like practical real life things, like in real life certain things, like one thing you need to like position in this way always. So putting that data always, like this is input output. So applying is the main practicing is the main thing for like coding. Basically if you just see, you will never understand, like you have to practice and go through the coding. So you will understand better that in which way, like which parameter, by using which parameter, and how the model can be actually optimized, and we can like use that model actually basically in real model. And there are many stuffs like we can use, like I think the model uh, so I will not go through this, like that's basically like I did a code actually based on like I put many kinds of emos here actually basically. So many kind of emos I put, like sad emo, then smiley emo. So basically based on that, so it give me a result, like it's a sad emoji or like happy emoji. So basically through machine learning you can do like many interesting things, like when you will apply in real field, or like small to small things, like to identify things, like okay, based on data, just I am putting the input, it's giving me the output. So when you do that actually in real life things, you will get the interest to like do that how it's working. And to work on that you have to basically like go through, like search a lot, like in Google is the best master actually here, that how we can utilize and all that facts. So there are different kind of classifiers. I have only explained SVM. So there are different kind of classifiers, like I told that decision tree and random forest. And basically different classifier is good for different type of like data, like the different kind of features based on their value, because one classifier is working for one model, but other can like not be that much good for other classifier, because they have different parameters, different hyper tunings, and different kind of stuffs. So anyone has any question?
It looks like we're all good. Thank you so much, Shoma, for doing our workshop today. Again, if you want to send me the materials that you use so I can put them on tracks so that everyone has access, that'll be awesome. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, please let us know now. Otherwise,
Yes,
what was that?
and or you, anyone can like email me also if you
Yeah.